Dun, dun, dun. My man Steve, bringing it live for you in the stash. Engineer Steve, thank you, brother. Appreciate you, and appreciate you guys for hanging out. We got a fun one today. You know, we always promise to track down cool local people, talk about cool local stuff, but I think we actually did that quite literally today with my man Matthew Bergman. He's the owner of Chiltonic. You can reach him at chiltonic.com up in Encinitas, or 760-566-5832. One more time, that's 760-566-5832. We're streaming live on the Meerkat app right now. In case you want to ask a live question by tweeting it, we'll read it on the show and see if we can get Matthew in the cold seat today. So riffing on this concept of cryo, how it fits into quality of life. And I really want to make this distinction too, because I thought about this and I wanted to try to separate it. You know, it makes me think of like Uber. If you know the story about Uber, of course, everybody knows what Uber is now. But when it was first trying to get seed money, everybody foo-fooed it. Up in Silicon Valley, they said, oh, okay, really? A ride-sharing app for the one percenters around San Francisco? Who's gonna do that? It's never gonna take off. Well, now they're global, and everybody knows what that is. It's a household name. And I feel like it's the same kind of thought around cryo, because your thought could be, first of all, okay, you know, if you have a heuristic around getting cold, hopefully we shed a little bit of light on that in the last segment. But then the other thought is, okay, well, you know, who's gonna do that? Well, you'd be amazed, right? Well, Matthew, you shouldn't be, because you see it all day. But in that concept of recovering faster, who fits that bill most?
Well, I mean, we see a lot of athletes. I mean, we see Olympic athletes, professional athletes, amateur athletes, and, you know, your weekend warriors as well. We were very fortunate. Our very first walk-in was pro NFL player. His name is Steve Weatherford, and he happens to be the fittest man in the NFL. Guy's absolutely jacked. Walked in. And
a relative unknown. I've never even heard of that name.
Well, he's, Google that one.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll see. Yeah, he looks like a Greek statue, but which is very awkward when you see him standing in his underwear next to your wife. That happens at Chiltonic. Anyway, so he walked in, and he actually educated us quite a bit, because not only was he our first walk-in client, he'd also been doing it before and after each game for 12 months prior. So he actually came with a whole host of knowledge that we, simply wouldn't have had otherwise. So he was doing it because not only was it helping him recover faster, but it was also increasing his flexibility, which was something that he brought to the table. That we
almost counterintuitive if you think about what cold does.
Exactly right. Yeah.
So is it in the release then?
It's reducing that inflammation. Again, it's those little cytokine guys that go out there and float around in the immune system and reduce the inflammation. So, yeah, he found that was something that was beneficial to his everyday workout routine. And this is a guy that only varies one thing ever in his routine. So he was able to take it and work on it as though it was a scientific experiment. So
I see. I get you now. Yeah, just to make sure that you know what the variable is going to be, so you don't add too many variables and then not know where the result came from.
Exactly right. Yeah. And since then, his one of his closest friends, a guy by the name of John Carney, has brought in all his athletes to try it out, and it gets them going. They recover, they go back, they work out harder.
Yeah. And if I can riff on this too, because this is something that's critical. You mentioned earlier perfectly the box of whether you are like this dude who literally plays in the NFL and like ruins himself for a paycheck every Sunday, right? Or whether you called it the weekend warrior, but that concept of, I think you would agree. And I would love to get a little bit more into your background, because your background's actually just as cool, because you speak a lot from personal experience being a professional athlete yourself, really. But that most even 40-year-old dudes and, with Pilates and yoga and stuff and the moms and stuff too, we're way more intensely active than we ever been before. Take a harken back to, your grandma and grandpa's days where they had themselves rigged up to a fat jiggler in front of a TV and they just shook themselves. It's like you juxtapose that from a CrossFit workout, and we've come a long way in a few decades, right?
Absolutely.
So that thought of recovery is a broad spectrum.
Well, it gets right back to what we were talking about earlier. And again, to get to the sort of the quality of life aspect of it too. I mean, we've got guys, we love CrossFit because they're beating themselves up on a regular basis. So we've got people that are doing that. In fact, you brought some CrossFit athletes to us, right?
I did, yep.
And, they're working out, as you said, very intensely. And they still got to go back and work the following day. They got to go sit down in a chair and do whatever it is that they're doing, usually in front of a computer or whatever else, for 24 hours and then, hit the repeat button. So getting them in, getting them cold, and making them feel better because they can recover faster is just huge.
And that's the key right there, too, because if you could put like a subtitle into Recover Faster, it's about momentum. Is it not?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, that's, look, you're right. Not everybody gets paid to, run around and throw footballs and kick soccer balls and whatever else they might be doing.
Or in your case, former extreme sports athlete.
Yes, yeah. So other people are beating themselves up in other ways, right?
Yeah,
so, that being the case, we definitely see that the ability for people to recover faster and just not feel sore the following day is just increasing their quality of life. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, I love that thought. So, you think about, the professional athlete and stuff, and I don't know if you ever caught the show, but it's an ESPN favorite, Hard Knocks. Did you ever catch any of those where basically they follow like an NFL team and stuff like that? And I remember catching this a few years back, that some of the athletes in an attempt to get an edge would do the hyperbaric chambers, which I don't really, I've never been in one, but as I understand it, basically you put like atmospheric pressure in this cocoon kind of thing. And the athletes were like sleeping in those. Yeah. And I don't know, I'm no, like literally rocket scientist. Who would study this type of stuff and the effect on the body, but like that's hardcore.
It is. A lot of athletes use that. In fact, I mean, they have ones that a lot of the people that have come in, pro athletes, MLB players, as well as NFL players, they have them in their homes.
Right, and you're not supposed to expose yourself that long to those types of things, but they feel like they have to get the athletic edge because of the literal rigor that they're putting themselves through on a daily basis. And so I'm not saying that one of these is better than the other, but they kind of fit in the same family, or the Fame family, if you want to just roll.
The Fame family is a good one, too.
The Fame family.
I think you should go with it.
Because
absolutely,
they really feel good.
You are so alliterative today. That's fantastic.
That's what I do here at the Stash, baby. Stash Nation, you're welcome. No, but that concept, though, because if you juxtapose that, from like what you do, yours is like 3 minutes long.
It's 3 minutes.
You know what I mean? Like, come on. Would you rather sleep
minutes.
in an atmospheric chamber of like 1 or 2 atmospheric pressures or whatever? Or would you rather just hop into a chamber for 3 minutes and get the same effect?
Well, I mean, it's a different effect, obviously. I mean, they're doing it because they want to eke out every last little bit of advantage they can get. For those of us that don't want to spend $80,000 on a hyperbaric chamber or whatever they might cost, depending upon the level, getting in and trying it out for $40 is a pretty easy way to try it out, right? So I think that, when you're talking about that sort of incremental gain, though, advantage, trying this out, getting in there, feeling the recovery, we've seen a lot of people, not only pro athletes, not only Olympic athletes, but we have seen sort of the weekend racer, the cyclist. They do the same course, and they're setting PRs, personal records, right? So that in and of itself means that they're able to, gain incrementally as they're able to recover faster, train harder, start over and over again. We also have a high school athlete that's done the same thing, running faster times. So, we can see how this therapy works on the individuals anecdotally, but it's really quite amazing.
Matthew Bergman, owner of Chiltonic.com, right up in Encinitas. You can catch him at 760-566-5832. We're talking about cryotherapy and the quality of life. And we had mentioned this concept of reducing inflammation on the first round. This one more about really recovering faster. And really, who is your clientele? I mean, almost everybody that doesn't live a sedentary lifestyle, right? And I love that thought as you tie it into momentum, because now you mentioned this, and this just welled up for me as soon as you talked about the guy who got the better time. The momentum makes you feel better, and feeling better is a mental edge.
Absolutely.
And if you're going to be at the top of your game in any athletics, I don't care if you're just trying to go get a good workout at the gym or whether you literally are competing on a world stage, you're training so hard and so intensely that you don't even know what it feels like to feel normal, unless it's the off season. Like you're constantly just beating yourself into a pulp, and then, you got to go compete at a top level. So it's like, even if it's just the mental edge of feeling better and recovering, like that dude who sat there in your office after doing leg day and like, I can't even feel my legs, like that alone is going to shave off seconds on your time.
Absolutely. I think you hit the nail on, at least that nail, right on the head. Carpenter?
In a past life.
Oh, okay. At any rate, certainly the ability to recover, to maintain momentum, that's great. I'm glad that you've given that to us, because I think you're right. Momentum, in this case, when we have people that are coming in and they're feeling better, they're becoming members. We have a membership program that we have about 40 members now, and they come in. If they have pain or anything else, they leave with a smile on their face because they know they're able to take on the day, or they finish the day. They're gonna have a great evening, and it continues. That I like momentum. I think we're gonna stick with that.
Yeah. It's almost like if you think of life. I know my favorite authors, Jim Collins, talked about this concept of this ginormous flywheel. And when you're trying to budget off of being still, it takes all the force in the world. But after it's already rolling, it's just a nudge ever so slightly to continue to have it pick up speed. And if you're an athlete, or if you're just trying to get a workout in before to face the day and the wares of the world, it's that little nudge. It's like your own little inflection point in the beginning or end of the day, respectively, to be able to get you into that state of mind that you need to be in, right?
Absolutely.
That's what I'm talking about, my man. That's why we got Matthew in the house. Owner, of course, of Chiltonic.com, and you can reach him at CHILTONIC.com. Or if you're old school like me and the phone works better, 760-566-5832. Increasing your quality of life, I think that's pretty fair to say. That's what they're doing up there at Chiltonic with his wife, Gretchen. And coming up, we're going to get you all caught up on some sports updates. I mean, after all, this is ESPN. And probably some good check-ins from some of your favorite ESPN personalities right now. And then coming up on the other side of this break, we're going to get into spiking metabolism, okay? Sure. Talking about how to burn calories. This isn't your daddy's after protein shake anymore, okay? We're talking cryotherapy in the house with Matthew Bergman. Real Talk Radio San Diego. We'll be right back.